Welcome to Mornings with Mayesh, your go-to podcast in life for all things floral. I'm Yvonne, and today we are diving into the world of exceptional Alexandra Farms garden roses. First up, we have our very own flower guru, David Dahlson. David's expertise is unmatched, and he'll be sharing insights on some of the most sought-after garden rose varieties in the industry. Joining us also is Joey Azout, president of Alexandra Farms, who is renowned for their stunning garden roses. Joey will give us a peek into his personal favorites and reveal an exclusive promotion for Mayesh customers. Whether you're a seasoned florist or a budding enthusiast, this episode promises to be a bouquet of knowledge and inspiration. Let's start our flower journey with David. David, hey, how are you?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. What do you have to share with us from Alexandra Farms today?
Okay, today I've got a few jewels from the Alexandra Farms collection. I would say most of these are sort of newer varieties. We have been selling them for a while, but probably to broadcast the information to a wider audience, this is a good opportunity. So I'm going to get going because time is rocking on. We have from David Austin, we have from Wabara in Japan, and we have from Scroyers in Holland. And I'm going to start off with this David Austin rose. This is a new one. It's called Millicent. It's really fantastic. And when it fully opens, it's absolutely amazing. Look at that. That's Millicent.
That's
You can see
beautiful.
it comes out as a mid pink. And it's important, like a lot of garden roses, they do change color as they open. So if you order it and you get this sort of intense pink, don't worry, it will open up and you can see the difference, right? And here's the intermediate stage, right? So a lot of these things you have to take into account how they're going to finish, not how they start. And look at this beautiful, fully double corded rosette, classic English garden rose from David Austin. This is called Millicent. Millicent. Very nice. Next, I'm going to go to some flowers from Wabara. This is a beautiful one. This is called Miyabi. Beautiful sort of pink with a beige center. Very subtle, a little bit muddy, peachy, beige coming out of a pink. But again, with these roses, remember, this is what you will see when they come in. They look pink, and you go, well, wait, where's that subtle, muddy complexion I ordered? Well, you have to let these things develop. This is a really nice rose, Miyabi.
That's one of my favorites.
It's really nice, has beautiful form when it opens, as you could see. And then next to that, we have a mutation from Wabara. This is called Miyabi Brown. And as you can see, it has sort of umber tones, beige tones, a little dash of pink, but generally sort of a light tan brown. But again, remember, when they first come in, they'll have a bit more pink on them, as you can see on the guard petals. But they do open to this gorgeous tan beige. And it's nestled in pink guard petals, which is always nice. Okay. Next to that, we have something. This is a really nice one. This is Westminster Abbey. And here I want to talk a little about terroir. Much like in when you have wines, no matter where they're growing, it could be a Chardonnay grown in the Napa Valley will perform differently than a Chardonnay grown in South Africa or France or Australia. Here is Westminster Abbey. You can see this really nice color, gray color, nice structure. The self of the petals is hard, strong. This is a very strong rose. I do recommend on Westminster Abbey remove all the guard petals. You may have to remove 4 or 5, but this really helps the flower to open. But when I say terroir, if you wanted more of a granite gray, a light granite gray rose, you'd be better ordering those from Ecuador. These ones here are more of a calico gray, and also nice, but that was from the lower elevation where Alexandra Farms is located in Colombia. So look for this, a nice subtle change up from the ones we get from Ecuador. But do note, if you order here, it's going to be a little lighter than you would see coming from Ecuador. Okay, here's a new one. This is gorgeous. Look at this. Beautiful. This is Princess Hitomi. Really nice rose. Fully double. I like the symmetrical way it unfurls in the middle. It doesn't look like too much when you get them in, but again, these work. They've got activity. There's action. They open, from day to day. But I would say for these, you want a good 4 days out of the cooler to get them to reflex completely. And again, if some aren't opening, remove the guard petals, recut, and they should open up to these beautiful, beautiful rosettes. Well, I have a fly in here. Must be attracted to all the beautiful flowers. Okay, behind here. Awesome. Look at it. This is Princess Maya. Really fantastic. Look at that rosette. Pale nude peach. The petals, look at that. The petals are all dropping down. And you have this sort of nice star-shaped center. A little more informal, say, than the David Austin's. But for me, informal is a little more charming, a little more natural. And this peach color is to die for, I believe. But remember, when you get them in, they have a lot more pink than you're thinking. You go, wait, that's not what I ordered. I needed that nice pale peach. Well, no, they start off with a little more intense, but as they open, the color bleeds out to the edges, a bit like chromatography. It just spreads to the edges, and you get this beautiful, even, pale peach. Gorgeous, gorgeous rose. That is Princess Maya. Behind that, I have, look at this, gorgeous, gorgeous. Sunrise in a vase. Look at those. Really beautiful, beautiful dark peach. And it's cupped in these very pale pink outer petals, but the inside, it opens to the corona. I mean, that's incredible color saturation, a really rich peach with touches of pink, a bit like a tequila sunrise that's been stirred a little. Look at that, beautiful. This is Princess Aiko. But again, important to remember, when you first get them, they're going to look a lot different, okay? When they're tight, very different from what you get when they open. So it's very important with these newer roses, think of where the rose is going to end up when you're designing, because even if you put it a little tighter, you go, wait, that's not quite right, it's too pale. You got to let it do its thing. I mean, this is a really beautiful rose, Princess Aiko. I'm going to close out with a couple of spray roses, good for wedding work. This is Wedding Rose Ever. Really nice clusters of flowers. Quite long laterals, so even if you're doing some bud vases or low containers, you can break these apart. I really like spray roses in arrangements because, look, if you put them here with roses, it gives you a change up. It gives you a sense of scale. And even if they're tighter, it comparts the local, the natural feel of roses on a bush. Some are open, some are halfway, and some are bud tight. So always remember, spray roses are good, for filler or something, but also good from a design perspective to increase your sense of scale. So this very nice Wedding Rose Ever.
That's beautiful.
It is very nice peachy pink. And last but not least, we have this. This is quite new. This is called Princess Fairy Kiss. It's a very demure, cool pink, but
Very
nice size
demure.
buds. Huh?
Very demure. Very
Yes, it's very
cutesy.
demure. Yeah, it's very demure. Yes. Well, it's a very, very Japanese. I mean, very pale, cool, pale pink. And this is called Princess Fairy Kiss. So I think some really nice roses. I'm going to be honest. This is just a mere smattering of what Alexandra Farms has to offer. You can see their products on our website. You can go to their website and check it out too. They have a good feature, by the way, that shows the rose when it's tight and how it ends up. Because it's important with these roses, they do change tone, they change hue, and some dramatically change color. So it's important to remember that. We're very grateful, as always, to Joey and Maria at Alexandra Farms for sending us these beautiful roses.
Absolutely. And guys, if you have any questions for David, let me know in the comments. We are watching that. And but we're gonna move on while you guys type in those comments for us and bring on Joey. Hey Joey, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I am
Good
so
morning,
glad.
Joey.
Good morning, David. How are you? Thank you for that terrific presentation on our varieties. Always great to hear you talk about them.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan. You do a tremendous job bringing these. I mean, honestly, you see a lot of flowers, and they're just not attractive. You know, they're fresh, they're the right color, but but yours is so so romantic. It's a pleasure to work with these flowers.
Thank you, David. One of the characteristics that we look for is performance in the vase, right? I know a lot of customers really look at color as the most important thing in their work, and color is important. But I think that the end consumer really appreciates interacting with the rose as it opens. And you mentioned that Miyabi was Yvonne's favorite, and you really like it. It's one of my favorites. Miyabi is one of those roses that will open absolutely to more than 100%. It'll become like an umbrella. It opens up so far. And that takes 5 or 6 or 7 days. So every morning, every day, you have a new relationship with this flower that's doing its dance for your entertainment. That's one of the features we look for. And I think every single variety that you're showing there has that characteristic. They're completely different 5 days after they're in water. They put
Right.
on a show.
Well, that's one of the things we like at Mayesh is you have action. Action for us is very important. A lot of people come with these roses, they cut them too tight, or the petal structure is too dense and they don't open. What is great about your collection is, and I know you do a lot of research in Colombia on all these roses, these ones perform, and that's what we like, and that's what our customers like. But it is important to remember to keep in your mind when you're doing design work, let's say for a wedding, if you're doing an installation in a hotel or in a house, it's different, but you just let it do its thing. And as Joey says, each day you have a new engagement with that flower. But if you're doing a weddings, and it's got to be just right for your Saturday, Friday, whenever, it's important to bear in mind how it will be after 5 days in water. You're going to have this different color complexion, which I did illustrate earlier, Joey, but you can clearly see, there's a lot of difference. And this is the guard panel. So you come in with a lot of like, oh, that's too much pink. But you have to think about how it will be at the final result.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind their performance when you're assigning a space to it in your arrangement, and when you're looking for a certain color, because it's going to change.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good.
I think designers, when you're using these kind of products, you've got to think a little bit like, for instance, someone doing ceramics. They'll put on their glazes, but the glazes are completely different color to what's going to happen when it's fired and comes out. And you have to have a little bit of that prescience to think ahead to your final design. You might be working with a Miyabi and they're looking too pink, but they are going to open. And this is what is important to work with in these garden roses. And if I can be quite honest, a lot of newer roses have this change from the cutting point to how it looks when it's open.
Remember that breeders are under a lot of pressure by growers to breed varieties that are very long lasting, right? That can go in a container from ports in Kenya to Europe and to England,
No, I'm not
Ecuador.
on
The
Instagram. No.
Pacific Ocean is going from, Ecuador all the way to LA, and those kinds of roses are hardy, and they live a long time, and they have the shelf life that we wouldn't dream of years ago. But they lack that performance that we're talking about, and of course they lack fragrance, because fragrance is counterproductive to vase life. Only very specific exceptions that we've gone out to find have both fragrance and performance and vase life. But the what we're talking about, these characteristics, I want to point out that it's like when you taste a very sweet strawberry that isn't in the market. In the market, you'll find a big red strawberry, but it doesn't have a lot of taste. But then maybe at a farmer's market or somewhere else, you'll find a smaller strawberry that's maybe not as red, but you taste it and it's much sweeter. And of course, it's the same phenomenon. Breeders are looking for strawberries that have a longer shelf life, not that taste better.
Right.
In our case at Alexandra, we're looking for the strawberry that tastes better. That performance, that fragrance, that romance that is being lost in the other commercial greenhouse roses that are being produced.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this though, they are shipping a lot of roses by boat now, but I find that they last in the vase, but they don't do anything. For somehow they've lost the proclivity to open and show us the beautiful aspects of a rose.
Right.
And what we like about your roses, Joey, is these puppies open, and they open reliably, and the end product is really a professional product, which we are proud to purvey to our clients.
Terrific.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Joey, for people that might not be familiar with your farm, can you give us a little history about Alexandra Farms and what inspired you to focus on garden roses?
Sure. We're going to be 20 years old in 2025, which is absolutely incredible to me because time has really flown by. In 2005, we saw in the October Hortifair show, which no longer exists in Holland, we saw the David Dahlson booth. And I told my wife, those are garden roses. Those are shrubs for your gardens. Those are plants. Those aren't cut flowers. And my wife said, no, let's go anyway. And it turns out that they were launching their cut flower varieties. And it was really a first. I mean, we had some people in California shipping garden roses to designers for wedding work. So there were some garden roses in our industry, but they weren't the mainstay. And they certainly weren't very good at being cut flowers because they had a very short vase life. They wouldn't last in shipping hardly at all. And suddenly here was David Dahlson saying that he had developed and bred specifically for the cut flower market the English garden rose shape, and that was just revolutionary. And for some reason, I got very excited about that idea because we were selling freedoms, and we were selling varieties that had stopped having that je ne sais quoi about them, that fragrance, that romance. That remember that Rafaela rose, which was that's going to date me, but it was a huge hot pink rose that was just gorgeous, but it was like plastic. You put it in the vase and it would stay there for 10 days and then turn brown.
Right.
There was nothing to it. And then at the same time, David, do you remember the Oceana rose, which is that peach that you put in a vase and it would blow open in 3 days and fragrance up the entire room? We had those too. And I said, no, I'm going for the Oceana. I'm going for the performance. I'm going for the fragrance. And after 20 years of testing varieties and finding that exceptional rose that has a fragrance or has an aperture of performance and lasts 10 days in a vase, we finally have a collection of 60 varieties. So that's a little bit the story of Alexandra Farms.
I love it.
Very good.
Yeah. So, Joey, I know we've talked a little bit about our favorites, and I wanted to know what are your personal favorite
Yeah,
varieties?
that's hard because it's like
Yeah,
saying which is your favorite son or daughter.
right.
I
They're your
only I only
babies.
have I only have one daughter, and she knows she's my favorite daughter.
All
That's
right.
easy. So I've decided that it's such a hard decision to pick one I like, and it changes every so often. I've decided that I like certain varieties for certain things, right? So East Piaget has a place in my heart, probably in David's as well, because it was one of the first fragrant garden roses that we could put in a vase and get some performance out of it. And it's so fragrant and so beautiful. So if I want to take something to my wife, that would be it. It's fragrant. It just takes over a space. If my daughter's getting married, if she wants to go with Darcy and Tess, these dark pinks, that would be amazing. But I would probably go with Juliet or Maya, which are peaches. Maya, which is so fragrant and so large. Um, but if I'm taking for my office for my enjoyment, I'm probably going to use Miyabi or Miyabi Brown because I'm getting a different product every day. On Monday, it's going to be pink. On Tuesday, it's going to be a lighter pink. On Wednesday, it's a little peachy. On Thursday, it's almost all peach. So I got four colors in one variety. Miyabi and Miyabi Brown are just amazing, and they're so consistent in their opening. 6 days after you put them in water, they will be open as an umbrella, even if it's a trade show in Russia, a trade show in Alaska, or right here in Miami. They will always perform.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I put these in water on Monday, and I'm going to say they're going to peak Friday, Saturday. So, if you're doing wedding work, you really can count on these opening. Obviously, your Westminster Abbey doesn't open too much, but it comes in at quite an open cut point. So it only has to reflex a little more to get this beautiful look. But I think realistically, to get a great product, allow 5 days. If they open faster, of course, you then just pop them in the cooler and then hold them there until you make your arrangements or what have you.
yeah, for event florists, we really urge you to go out on a limb and let them open up for 4 days before you use them. You're really
Yeah.
going to get the value out of the product. And when you use a tight garden rose for your work, and we've seen this happen, you're not getting anything for your value, for the money. It's not filling the space. It's not as beautiful, and you spend a lot of money for it. So please do tests for your own area, and until you feel confident and comfortable, leave them, bring them in, cut them, put them in water overnight in the cooler to hydrate, and then the next day take them out. Leave them outside at room temperature, not heat, just regular office temperature. As they open, decide whether you want to put them back in the cooler to slow that down, or if you want to leave them out to keep it open. But 4 days is the minimum before they're looking their absolute best for your event. So a Tuesday arrival for a Saturday wedding is great.
I
And
love those tips.
I would like to back that up because it really is worth allowing these to open up. Garden roses are one of the most expensive roses, but if you let these open up, you are going to use less flower per square inch because this covers more space. If you cut them tight, you're probably going to have to use double the amount of roses to get the effect you were looking for. So, it's judicious and practical to let them open up because you're maximizing the yield of your investment.
Right. Those vases that you have there, David, are those a dozen flowers in a vase?
Those are a dozen flowers in a vase, correct?
Doesn't it look huge for being just a dozen? I mean, it looks like a really nicely filled out vase, right?
They do,
Yeah.
especially these, which are opening pretty quick. That is like a really nice vase of flowers. Very nice. 12 stems. Very nice. So, yes, these ones will open. A lot of them open in what we call a pave fashion, like very flat. And then your yield, your investment is protected. Very, very important. Same with these. And these still have a ways to go to get ultimately like this, where they're flat and you're covering a lot of surface area, and business is business, right? We got to make money. So you have to think these things out. Yes, let them open. And believe me, your designs will improve. Everything improves because you have this beautiful vulnerable creation from God, doing its magic. So it's well worth it.
And I feel like that's the perfect segue to talk about our special Mayesh and Alexandra Farm promotion. Joey, do you want to mention that?
Yes. I think that it's I can't imagine the pressure that florists are under when they're in a strip mall with a big box store next to them, right? Selling dozen roses for $14.99, the box store is, and the retail florist has to find a way to compete, and they're not going to do it on price, right? They're going to have to do it on service, on design work, and one of the tools they have to differentiate themselves is also the flowers they use, right? So ranunculuses and garden roses and maybe cymbidium orchids are things that aren't very common in a supermarket environment, and they differentiate the florist. And a lot of florists don't realize that the garden roses available today are not the same garden roses that were available 10 years ago. Our garden roses actually have the vase life that you're looking for everyday work. So combining those two ideas of a flower shop differentiating itself and our garden roses lasting a long time, we want to give florists the tool of using garden roses in their everyday work. And we feel that their customers are really going to appreciate the fragrance and the performance because they haven't seen that before. That it's gonna make the florists shine much brighter than any supermarket arrangement. And of course, florists are going to say that, oh, they don't last very long, but they do, right? They last longer than a gerbera or a tulip, even.
Mhm.
And also the expense, right? Oh, garden roses are very expensive. Well, it turns out that in the winter months, there aren't so many weddings. And even if we have some business in the Eastern Hemisphere, in the Southern Hemisphere, where it's summer, it's still not enough business for us. So Mayesh and Alexandra got together and created this promotion for the winter season. It's a promotion that allows the florist to buy garden roses for everyday work at a regular rose price. For the next couple of weeks, you can place an order with Mayesh for 99 cents and get Alexandra Farms garden roses for that price. There is a commitment of the florist to use these roses from November 1st through March 31st. Every week, the same amount. The idea is that a brick and mortar florist that is using roses every week for their everyday work, maybe 300, 400 roses a week, uses 100, 150 of those as garden roses, and they start using them in their everyday work and seeing how their customers react to it. They're also seeing how they perform for their own sake, right? And florists will become comfortable with them for using them for events later on. But for now, they're differentiating their work from the supermarkets. I think it's a terrific promotion. It allows the florist to pick and choose 4 bunches, each of a different variety. Each florist can pick the varieties they want to have in the box. It's the same assortment from November 1st through March 31st. It includes Thanksgiving. It includes Christmas. It includes Valentine's Day. And it's not a straitjacket in the sense that if the florist after a couple of months decides that they like White Cloud better than Princess Miyuki and they want to change, that's fine. We'll take up to 2 changes per season.
That's pretty good. Let me ask you this, Joey. 99 cents. I'm going to say that's a great price for garden roses. Does that include David Austin's?
David Austin's are a little bit more expensive, and they have to be packed in their own with their own variety. So you can mix Juliet and White O'Hara, Juliet being a David Austin rose.
Right.
The David Austin varieties are $1.99, which is a great price for David Austin roses. And for retail stores that have an upscale market, I think they can use the David Austin roses and really get their customers to see the value in it. One of the tricks that I recommend, but this is me, not David Austin Company, is that every bunch of David Austin comes with a little tag that says David Austin Rose and the variety name. And I think that just like you would leave, when I give my wife a Tiffany gift, I leave it in the blue box, right? I don't change the box and put it in. So everybody knows that a blue box is Tiffany and a blue box is beautiful and a blue box is valuable. So if you leave the David Austin tag that the bunch has on the arrangement that you're delivering, People will say, "Oh wow, this is a branded product. These roses are a brand," and many will recognize the David Austin name, right? Because they've been buying David Austin shrubs for their gardens for 50 years more.
Yeah.
So leaving the tag so that the end consumer realizes that these are special and these are branded, I think works well for the David Austin brand. All the other varieties you can mix and match, right? The Princess, the Garden, and the Wabaras you can put into the same box. It's just David Austin that as a brand we're keeping it separate.
Okay, so that's good to remember. You can have David Austin's, $199 sounds like a great deal to me, and the other rest of the line, which include, I mean, come on, I mean, to die for, 99 cents. Are you kidding me? Really, really nice. So that sounds like a great promotion, florist. I would jump all over that, because it's almost like prices of some regular roses these days. Remember, it's I think from now until when? The end of March?
March 31st.
March
Yeah.
31st.
And
Okay.
you need to, let me jump in real quick. You need to set up the standing order by October 25th. That is the deadline for our customers. And guys, we sent this offer out in email, I think twice already. So check your email. And if not, just connect with your sales rep and they'll be able to help you out.
You can go to the Alexandra Farms webpage, probably the Mayesh webpage, and take a look at videos and pictures of the different varieties to pick and choose your 4-bunch assortment. The idea is that you can use garden roses for regular roses at a very comparable price, but it lifts your arrangement and it lifts the product that you're selling to a different level altogether. And hopefully it'll make us all more successful.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate, the Deluxe and Princess Garden Roses are 99 cents per stem.
Look
And the
at that.
David Austin,
There's 4 varieties right there.
yeah.
I mean,
And
how can you go wrong?
And the David Austin and the Wabara roses are $1.99. Someone did ask, I have a question and wanted to know, can we order different varieties weekly, or are we locked in for the variety for the whole period? And Joey, I know you touched on that point, but can you just reiterate how
you're
that
locked
works?
in for the entire period, but you can make changes twice. And the changes can't be seasonal, right? You can't change it all to reds in December and oranges for November, right? It's a change that you simply didn't like the variety or the color, but it's a fixed assortment for the period. If you're a retail brick and mortar store and you're doing everyday work, well, you probably have, I don't know, 100 yellows, 100 pinks, 100 whites, and 100 reds every week coming into your store. Well, the idea is that you'll take some of that and convert it into garden roses. You'll take a 12 stem bunch of yellow, a 12 stem bunch of red, a 12 stem bunch of white, and a 12 stem bunch of pink, just like you would proportional to your regular orders.
Joey, quick question. Can they put like 3 roses and a spray rose? Could they do that kind of mix?
The spray rose bunch is only 6 stems.
Well, then a couple, could they, I mean, or it's just roses, single stem roses?
That's how we have it set up right now, just the
Okay,
roses.
so remember, single stem roses, but look, incredible beauty, amazing, amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So, Joey, any last closing thoughts that you want to share before we wrap up?
Yes. I think that it's important to discuss this idea that our industry had, it's changing now, that garden roses are just event flowers, right? When you first speak about garden roses to a member of the industry, they immediately click on their event hat. And we wanna address that, because that hat is put on for reasons that are no longer valid, right? You put on your event hat because they don't last. Well, that's not valid anymore. Roses last for everyday work as much as other varieties or other species that you're using for everyday work. And then the idea that they're very pricey for everyday work, well, with this promotion, prices is not a differentiator. They're about the same price as a regular rose. They're half the price they are in the summer. So it's the paradigm that garden roses are just for event work. We've got to try to break that, and it behooves us as an industry, because florists need these sorts of tools to differentiate themselves. And I really hope that they use it I mean, you can't compare a vase of a dozen Miyabis with a vase of a dozen Vandellas. It's just not the same. And nobody's going to buy a bunch of Miyabis, take them home, and then call the florist and say, oh, I could have gotten these cheaper at Whole Foods, because it's a completely different thing. And I think florists should take advantage of this differentiator that Mayesh made available to them.
Absolutely. I just got a comment from a Florist Story, by the way. I love that company name. Very cool. They say, thank you for focusing on these fabulous blooms today. Always great to hear insight and important tips from these fantastic experts. Signing up for that promo, can't beat it. Thank you. And
Yeah, that's great.
Florist Story. That's awesome. I love it.
Florist Story.
Yeah, and we have some other people on Instagram too that are very excited about this promo. So I hope you guys check it out. And like I said, Joey mentioned like connecting with him on Instagram and their website. They have a lot of resources there. I have it in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Instagram, you're just gonna need to go find that. It's Instagram. It's at Alexandra Farms. It's very easy, and their website is alexandrafarms.com. And also just wanted to point out that we do have an Alexandra Rose guide. I have the link in our comments. But if you, for whatever reason, don't get that link, we have an education page. It has all of our guides there, and you can download everything for free. So go ahead and check out that resource for you guys. And I think that's about it. It's Lilies and Lattes. I like that too. She says, yes, Joey, you totally tugged a heartstring. So, yeah. So I love that. It's a great way to start out the day, right? Tugging on people's heartstrings.
Exactly.
So now that we're talking about heartstrings, let me end with this idea that I have in my head. The roses that we put into the vase that perform are doing this dance as they die, right? So they're performing their death dance for our enjoyment. I think that as you see our varieties perform in the vase like that they're giving their all, they're giving their lives in order for us to feel the beauty and to feel good. I think we'll appreciate them a little bit more.
I love that. Yeah.
That's
one way of thinking about it. But no, I love it. It's beautiful. And that is the beauty of just our industry, So thank you. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, David. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I so appreciate your time. And as always, just stay tuned for our next episode. It'll be coming soon. I know I have a new design star that we're going to be sharing with you very, very soon. And I'll have her on the show. And I have a couple more people in the works for interviews. So, and then also, if you always have any ideas, just let me know. And I will see you all soon. Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Mayesh. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Joey. Thank you very much to Alexandra Farms. Cheerio.
Yes. Cheerio. Bye, guys.
Cheerio. Doo-doo-doo.